and I really wanted to go out, but I can't.
Lovely viewers, thank you so much for tuning in again. You already know that we don't just tell stories here, we live them together. So get ready because today's story is as personal, emotional, and intriguing as it gets. Our hearts are about to be pulled in many directions as we explore something that stirred up fans, reopened old memories, and created fresh waves of speculation online. I'm talking about that emotionally heavy, beautifully cryptic message posted by none other than Joong. Some wounds never heal. Just 6 little words, but oh, what a storm they've created. And guess what? This message didn't just come out of nowhere. No, it arrived amid the joyous yet equally complicated celebration of some very surprising baby news that seems to be connected to someone from his past. A past many of you still ship, debate over, and hold dear in your hearts. This story isn't black and white, and it isn't just about celebrity gossip. It's about emotions, timing, healing, heartbreak, and what happens when the past comes knocking just as you're trying to build a new future. So, I'm inviting you to lean in close, follow every clue with me, and think deeply about what might really be going on behind the scenes. Let's take this journey together, and remember, I'll be asking you questions throughout to make this a shared experience. Are you ready? Let's begin. The message came quietly, without fanfare, without explanation. A simple Instagram story, black background, white text. Some wounds never heal. No tag, no photo, no caption, nothing else. It disappeared after 24 hours as stories do, but not before fans all over the world screenshotted it, shared it, zoomed in, overanalyzed the font style, speculated over the timing, and pored over every detail trying to figure out, what does Joong really mean? And most importantly, why now? That's the question everyone's asking. Because as many of you already know, this cryptic post comes just as the news broke that Hai Kos. Yes, the same Hai Kos who once walked down the aisle with Joong in a wedding that felt like it was taken straight from a fairy tale, maybe expecting a child with none other than Lee Min-ho. Yes, you heard that right. Lee Min-ho. 2 massive pieces of news. One joyful, one haunting, posted within days of each other. Is this a coincidence? Or is there something more happening beneath the surface? Let's rewind just a bit. For those of you who are new here, let's take a quick walk down memory lane. Joong and Hai Kos met while filming Descendants of the Sun in 2015. Sparks flew, on screen and off. They were the kind of couple that made people believe in destiny, in fate, in love written in the stars. In 2017, they got married in one of the most highly anticipated celebrity weddings Korea had ever seen. Fans affectionately dubbed them Song couple. Their chemistry, unmatched. Their visuals, ethereal. Their connection, magical, or so it seemed. But then, just 2 years later, the fairy tale came crashing down. In 2019, Joong filed for divorce. And just like that, the dream dissolved. No grand public explanation. No messy press conferences. Just silence. Dignified, heartbreaking silence. And since then, they've lived entirely separate lives. Till now. Because just as fans were finally starting to let go of the what-ifs and the pain of that split, this post appears. Some wounds never heal. And it has reopened so many emotional doors, not just for Joong, but for all of us watching from the sidelines. Let me ask you, my dear viewer, have you ever had a wound that you thought had healed, only to realize it still aches when something reminds you of it? That's what this feels like. Let's talk timing. Here's what really has people talking. Joong's post came just as the baby rumors surrounding Lee Min-ho and Hai Kos began gaining traction. Coincidence? Maybe. But come on, we all know timing matters, especially in the world of celebrities, where nothing is ever truly random. Many believe that this was Joong's unspoken way of responding to the news. A subtle, quiet message that says more than 100 press statements ever could. So the question becomes, what does this message really mean to him? Is it about heartbreak, regret, a mischance, lingering feelings? Or is it just an observation about life? That some experiences change you forever, and some scars become part of your identity. What do you think? Pause here for a moment and let that sink in. Let's make this interactive. Comment below or say it out loud. When you read, "Some wounds never heal," what's the first person or memory that comes to your mind? It hits deep, doesn't it? Because we've all been there. Whether it's love, loss, betrayal, or a moment we just can't shake. We all have wounds that no amount of time can fully erase. Now let's explore the fan theories. Oh yes, fans have been working overtime to decode this. Theory number 1. He's still in love with Hai Kos. this one's been making the rounds the most. According to fans, Joong's post wasn't just about pain, it was about unresolved love. And the fact that Song Hai Kyo might now be starting a family with someone else, especially someone as visible and beloved as Lee Min-ho, may have stirred up emotions Joong thought he'd buried long ago. What do you think, lovely viewer? Is it possible that Joong still harbors feelings for his ex-wife? Could it be that watching her move on in such a big way has reignited old feelings? Theory number 2. It's about regret. Others believe the post reflects regret, not necessarily about the relationship ending, but about how it ended. Maybe Joong wishes things had been different. Maybe he wishes they had fought harder to make it work. Maybe he's haunted by the idea of what could have been. Isn't that a universal feeling? Regret can creep in years later, long after the dust has settled. A smell, a song, a piece of news. And suddenly you're transported back to a moment you wish you could rewrite. Theory number 3. It's about growth. Now, some fans have a different take altogether. They believe Joong's message isn't about Hai Kyo at all, but rather a reflection on life. Maybe he's just acknowledging that some experiences shape us forever, and not all wounds are meant to be healed. Some are meant to teach us, to remind us, to keep us human. Which camp are you in? Do you think the post was directed at someone specific? Or was it just a moment of vulnerability? Meanwhile, what's going on with Song Hai Kyo and Lee Min-ho? Well, as you probably know if you've been following our channel, the buzz surrounding Hai Kyo and Lee Min-ho has reached new heights. From subtle Instagram interactions to private sightings and blurry photos to insider rumors, the world seems convinced that these two are more than just friends. And then came the baby news. Reports suggest that Hai Kyo is expecting, and while neither she nor Lee Min-ho has officially confirmed it, fans are already speculating about due dates, gender guesses, and nursery themes. It's a beautiful moment if true. But it's also bittersweet, for those who still carry a soft spot for the Song couple. For those who still remember the wedding, the photos, the glances they used to share. And for those who feel, as Joong's post suggests, that some wounds just never quite go away. So where does this leave Joong? It's worth noting that Joong has been rebuilding his life quietly and steadily. He remarried in 2023 and welcomed a baby boy not long after. By all appearances, he's moved on. He's building a new chapter with his new wife, Katie Louise Saunders. They live a relatively low-key life and appear happy. But again, appearances. Because as we've learned from that one message, healing isn't always linear. You can be happy and still carry pain. You can have a new love and still feel echoes of an old one. That's human. In fact, many fans say that Joong's post was a beautiful, brave expression of vulnerability. A reminder that no matter how far we move forward, some chapters leave lasting marks. Let me ask you, can we ever truly move on from a great love? Or do we simply learn to carry it differently? And now to you, yes you. What do you feel when you see someone from your past move on? Have you ever thought you were fully healed, only to realize you were not? Because that's what makes this story so universal. It's not just about Joong, it's about us. It's about love, loss, and those invisible threads that bind us to people long after they're gone from our lives. So take a moment right now and reflect. Who is your some wounds never heal person? What would you say to them if you could? This is your chance. Write it in the comments. Speak it aloud. Let it out. As this story continues to unfold, one thing remains clear. Even in silence, even in 6 short words, Joong has reminded us that being human means being vulnerable. And that's nothing to be ashamed of. So wherever you are right now, whether you're nursing an old wound, celebrating new love, or somewhere in between, know that you're not alone. These stories connect us. They reflect our own. And we'll be right here watching, wondering, and healing together. Let us know your thoughts below. Did this message stir something in you? Do you believe Joong still carries a flame for Song Hai Kyo? Or was this just a passing moment of reflection? Following the moment that post went live, fan forums across the globe lit up like wildfire. Twitter or X, depending on what you call it now. Instagram fan pages, YouTube comment sections, you name it. Everywhere you looked, one question dominated the space. Is Joong okay? Now think about that for a second. This is a man who once stood at the pinnacle of happiness, hand in hand with a woman the world assumed was his soulmate. A man who confidently built a new life, who smiled through press junkets, held his baby boy, and thanked his fans for believing in him. But in that one post, 6 words, he reminded everyone that even the brightest stars carry darkness with them. That even a smile on camera doesn't always tell the full story. The fan reactions. An emotional whirlwind. Some fans responded with empathy and concern. A fan from Manila tweeted, "That message hit too close to home. Sometimes healing doesn't mean forgetting. I hope Joong knows it's okay to feel." Another comment from a fan in Brazil read, "I just want to hug him. He gave us so much joy through Descendants of the Sun. He deserves peace." If this is about Hai Kos, my heart breaks all over again. But there were others who felt conflicted. One viral post questioned whether the message was fair to Joong's current wife. It read, "He's married. He has a baby. Posting that now, when his ex is reportedly pregnant, feels messy. What about his new family?" And honestly, lovely viewer, that's a valid question too. Do we, as humans, ever truly let go of our first great love, even when we find someone new? Let me ask you, have you ever loved someone again after heartbreak, only to find that a small part of you still aches for the person you lost? That's the emotional tightrope Joong seems to be walking. And it's not an easy one. Let's talk about Song Hai Kos's silence. In the midst of all this, Song Hai Kos has remained silent. She hasn't responded to the baby rumors publicly. She hasn't acknowledged Joong's post. No subtle likes, no cryptic Instagram captions, no public sightings that suggest anything other than calm composure. That silence has spoken volumes. For some fans, her refusal to respond is a mark of grace and maturity. For others, it's a painful reminder of how far apart she and Joong now are. Two people who once shared everything, now living as strangers in the public eye. And let's not forget, Hai Kos has also been through her own emotional journey. Following the divorce, she took time off, traveled, focused on her craft, and stayed away from the media spotlight. It was only in the last year or so that she re-emerged, glowing, strong, and some would say finally happy again. So if the baby news is true, then it's not just a new chapter for her. It's a culmination of years of quiet growth. But it's also a mirror. Because even as she blooms, someone from her past seems to be emotionally unraveling. And that mirror is hard to ignore. The baby news itself. What do we really know? Let's lay out what's been confirmed, and what's just speculation. There have been multiple reports, mainly from Korean entertainment insiders, suggesting that Hai Kos has been seen visiting prenatal clinics. Lee Min-ho was reportedly seen purchasing a ring, though some argue it could have been for a brand campaign. Neither Hai Kos nor Lee Min-ho has confirmed or denied the rumors. Joong's post came 2 days after one of the major Korean entertainment blogs published an article titled, "Are Lee Min-ho and Song Hai Kos expecting their first child together? Coincidence? We'll let you decide." But the proximity of those timelines has fans convinced that Joong's message wasn't just poetic expression, it was personal. The psychology of heartbreak revisited. Now let's go a little deeper emotionally. Studies have shown that romantic heartbreak can create lasting trauma, comparable in brain scans to physical pain. The brain, in fact, processes heartbreak through the same neurological pathways it uses to process real, physical injuries. So when Joong says, "Some wounds never heal," he may be speaking about more than just metaphor. He might be sharing a neurological truth. That the heartbreak he experienced, the betrayal, the loss, the collapse of something he thought would last forever, is something he carries physically. Maybe you carry something like that too. If you do, pause right here and remind yourself. It's okay to hurt. It's okay to feel. Healing isn't a straight road. And even if the world has moved on, even if your ex is having a baby, even if people expect you to smile, your pain is valid. Behind the scenes buzz. What are insiders saying? An anonymous source from a production staff who worked with both Joong and Hai Kos recently told a local outlet, "People don't know what they went through privately. There were a lot of tears, a lot of misunderstandings. They both loved each other deeply, but timing and pressure were always against them." Another insider claimed, Joong didn't expect to be affected by the baby news. He thought he was over it. But love like that, it leaves ghosts. Do you believe that, lovely viewer? That some love stories don't fully end, they just go dormant? 'Cause that seems to be the case here. Dormant feelings, suddenly awakened by something so life-altering as baby news. What does this mean for Joong's marriage? As of now, there's no indication that Joong's marriage is in any trouble. His wife, Katie, has continued to support him quietly, without any public drama. She hasn't commented on the post. She hasn't liked or unliked anything. She's simply stayed quiet. But silence doesn't mean indifference. Imagine for a moment that you're in Katie's shoes. You married a man who was once married to the most beloved actress in Korea. You gave him a child. You built a peaceful life. And then one day he posts a message that shakes up the entire fandom, and maybe you're home. How would you feel? Confused, insecure, heartbroken, or understanding, patient, loving? Katie's reaction remains private, but fans are now watching her too for any sign of emotional fallout. Where do we go from here? The beauty and tragedy of a cryptic message like Joong's is that it lives in ambiguity. It doesn't offer answers. It only raises questions. But maybe that's the point. Maybe Joong wasn't trying to start drama. Maybe he wasn't even addressing anyone in particular. Maybe he was just being human. Maybe he needed to say something that had been weighing on his soul for years. And maybe, just maybe, those 6 words were never meant for us. Maybe they were meant for one person. Someone he once loved. Someone he maybe still does. What can we learn from this moment? This isn't just celebrity news. This is a mirror held up to our own hearts. 'Cause at some point we've all been Joong. We've all felt that ache. We've all wanted to scream into the void. I'm not over it. So if you're hurting right now, if someone you loved has moved on and you feel left behind, know that you're not alone. Even global superstars, people with fame, money, adoration, feel that pain too. And sometimes the strongest thing you can do is whisper what Joong did. Some wounds never heal. Not for pity, not for sympathy, but for truth. Because acknowledging our pain is the first step toward freeing ourselves from it. Stay tuned, lovely viewers. We'll keep watching, listening, and sharing updates as this emotional journey unfolds. Whether Joong speaks out again, whether Hai Kos confirms the baby, whether Lee Min-ho steps forward, one thing is certain. The heart always leaves traces. Thank you for staying with us through this beautiful, painful, and deeply human story. We love you. See you. And we'll be here for the next chapter.